Hey,
Hello.
hey everybody. It's time for another Cinemondo trailer reaction. Kathy and Mark with you. And it's always fun to do these.
Adipurush.
Yeah, Adipurush is looking
Adipurush.
for. Okay, we'll see what it's all about. And but quickly, let's just talk about our Cinemondo YouTube membership program. $2.99 a month. You become a Mondo and you get badges, emojis, member shout outs. For $4.99, you get all that. Plus, you get to request a video that we'll review, and we'll give you, your name and phone number, and all that kind of good stuff to everybody out there. I'm just kidding. And we also have a Slack channel, which is really fun, and we talk about all things. It could be any kind of film, TV show, or whatever. It's just a fun place to say
Whatever.
hi. Yeah.
Yeah.
So consider joining. We would appreciate it if you did. It'd be fun. So let's talk about this movie.
All right. So I'm kind of excited to see this because it stars Prabhas and Ali Khan. And I just saw him in Vikram Vidhas, Saif Ali Khan. So I'm kind of excited to see him in a different kind of role because I think this is more of a fantasy kind of role. I don't know exactly what this is, but there's two people I know.
Oh, good. Well, I don't. I mean, I know those people too. I know nothing about this at all. So
No, we just know that it's new. People are talking about it. They want us to do it. We get a lot of requests, so we're going to do it.
this is kind of a request from all our fans out there.
Yeah,
So let's
it
take a
is.
look at this new film, Adipurush.
Okay,
Here we go.
here we go. Oh,
Hmm.
that's cool.
धस
Wow.
जाए ये धरती या चटक जाए आकाश, न्याय के हाथों होकर रहेगा न्याय का सर्वनाश.
Ooh, Vikings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look how cute. Oh, trippy.
Wow. Multi-headed.
Saif Ali Khan.
आ रहा हूं मैं, आ रहा हूं न्याय के दो पैरों से अन्याय के 10 सर कुचलने. आ रहा
With that one.
अधर्म का विध्वंस करने.
It's kind of like Hawkeye.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Whoa.
Interesting. Celebrating victory of good over evil. So fun. Okay.
All right.
Well,
So first the good, I guess.
all right. Okay. What's the good?
The good is some really creative concepts. I mean, I thought there were some really cool ideas in this. I love
Mhm.
the splitting heads was fantastic. The giant flying with the guy on it was great.
Right.
They
Yeah.
had, the ocean thing was great. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some really cool. This is how I look at this. As we could tell, the CGI was not great.
Well,
It was
yeah.
distractingly not great. So
Right.
if this was like a rough cut, if this was like, here's our concept idea and this is what we're going to work on and it's not final, I would say, hey, this has got potential. If you guys are going to polish this and make it look better, I would be a little reticent to think this is going to be good by the effects we've seen so far.
Oh, the effects are
But
terrible.
it is a
I mean,
teaser.
but yeah, I mean, again, it's like there's a lot of great concept here. Do they have the budget to make it work? So the choice
Yeah.
it's like, okay, should we just cut some of this stuff out and try to make the stuff
Yeah.
we have better, or do we put everything in there and just say, hey, we're just going for this really goofy fake look with these fake gorillas and fake everything, like it's just green screen central. um and it's off-putting in the sense, like, it's kind of fun to watch because it's like,
Mhm.
wow, that's really just sort of wild and interesting. It
Yeah.
looks like art, like a comic book art, almost looks
Yeah.
animated. I mean,
Yeah.
it is animated. So it's a different look. And if you're going for that, that can be kind of fun. But if you're going for realism, it obviously just it's so not there. So who knows? Again, it could be a rough cut. They're working on the effects. This is like with She-Hulk. They said the effects were horrible, and then they ended up being a lot better.
I don't think they ended up being good. I cannot even deal with that show at all. It's so terrible.
Oh, I only watched the first episode. I just heard stuff. Was it really bad?
Painful.
Oh, okay.
But back to this.
Yeah.
Yes, Americans also do terrible stuff.
Yeah.
Also, I've heard that Om Raut is
director.
responding to the backlash. Yeah, the director. He did not expect the negative response, which I guess we're also giving it a negative response. I think I'm being kind because I know how hard it is to make movies, and I feel bad for creative people taking a lot of shit. But you got to work on this, guys.
Well,
This
also, you know,
looking. You shouldn't have released this detailed of a teaser without having the effects in place.
Well, again, it's like it's putting a lot of pressure on the effects people to say we got to do all this stuff and we got to crank it out. And it's like, I don't have the money, the time, and the effort to do it. I think about the people that are grunt work that's doing, that's rendering all this stuff. That's a lot of work. And
I'm sure they did not have time or money to do it well, and they hopefully they will now.
Well, that's the whole point. It's like, don't go for all that stuff. If you're going to try to make a $200 million movie on $20 million, it's tough. You're working
also,
people to death.
You have two massive actors in it. Like, don't waste their time. It's like, if you're going to do a fantasy film, which, the effects in Brahmastra, which I'll mention that because it was the most recent kind of fantasy film that we've seen that's Indian, is that the effects were a certain level that matched their concept. And were they complicated? No, they weren't. They were pretty simple, sparkly, pure. They weren't trying to look like anything, like a gorilla or a chimp. They weren't trying to look human. So they had a lot of leeway of fantasy that they could pull off in that film. But it matched and was consistent, and it looked intentional. This did not look intentional. This looked like we didn't have time. We're going to rush out this teaser, and we're going to let people are going to love it because it's going to be crazy. It's going to have these big actors in it. But what happened is everybody went, what?
It's distracting. There was a film called A Moment in Time, I think, and it was like a big actors, big Ray Bradbury story, but the effects they ran out of money and they put the effects in there, and they were so awful. It was like it just killed the movie. Yeah, just back it off a bit. You don't need everything.
I'm rooting for them. I'm always rooting for filmmakers. Like, I want them to succeed. I want movies. Oops, sorry. How do I turn it off?
I got it.
We can add that part. Yeah. No, I'm always rooting for filmmakers because it's really hard, and I hate seeing creative people get slammed. But I'm hoping, because we've seen it can be done. I'm hoping that people saw this and they went, "This movie's worth saving." And we should definitely give these guys more money and more time and work this shit out. Because it is a teaser. They have a little more time.
They do. And we are very forgiving, and we are all about the filmmakers and creative, and we try to be positive. And we want they can fix this, and he's getting backlash. None of that is great. But if you're going to put it out there for people to spend money, especially with all what's the stuff we see now and the CGI, it has to be, it doesn't have to be James Cameron CGI, but it has to be, acceptable. That's all.
Exactly. And also, I'm not sure of the intent, when they shot this, when they released this teaser trailer, how finished is the film? Because we've seen a lot of teasers with film already close to finished. So if this is the level of finished effects in the movies, he needs to redo the whole movie. And then if this is just a teaser and they did sometimes this happens, they do effects, temporary effects that they're going to show just in the teaser just to amp people up. And then, of course, they didn't have time. They probably do it overnight. I know how the industry works. They suck. Anyway, not the people, but the industry.
I'm sure the producers are saying, hey, this has got to come out in January. This is there's money involved. Let's do this.
Right. Let's start amping up. Let's have a teaser. But what they should have done is probably done more of a teaser, not shown as many effects.
Right.
Kind of like, was that Surya 42? They barely showed any effects. They just had one super polished hawk. Really well done. It looked cartoony, but it looked really finished. These effects just did look finished. And I just, as a point of principle, this is my own thing. I'm just saying it's my own thing. No, gorillas are not bad guys. Don't put them in fights. I don't want to see gorillas. They're vegetarians. They're peaceful animals. Don't use them as brutes. Put in an animal. It's like Predator. Don't put in a gorilla. It doesn't eat meat.
Yeah,
come on,
doesn't.
guys.
And
maybe it was a chimp. Chimps are pretty hard, badass. If it was a chimp, that makes sense. But gorillas, no. Just don't put animals.
It doesn't work anymore. It's like a King Kong was 100 years ago, or it just kind of doesn't work. There's other animals you could put in there. They go, okay, that's a little more feasible. They're man eaters and blah blah blah.
Dinosaurs. Do something crazy. Put a fantasy animal in there. Pegasus. I don't know.
Yeah.
But exactly. So we have probably a temp poster, but very beautiful spiritual effects looking poster. it doesn't really give away that this is this sort of superhero film, which is what it looked like. Because they had people flying and fighting, and this looks like more like it was kind of Brahmastra-ish with the kind of lightning. But looks kind of more a softer kind of thing, which is the victory over evil. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna. But they're taking notes. They're learning. They're working with it. So there we go.
How about celebrating a good effects over bad effects?
Exactly. Less effects, just better. Like don't have everything. You didn't have to CGI people. I mean, there were actual CGI people in this. You don't need that. Then they're just walking. And you could just hired some people to do that.
I know. It's very odd. But anyway, listen, again, it's a trailer. We review the trailers, not the movies. That's what this is. So we'll see. We'll see.
It looks creative. It looks like they kind of maybe want to get a little too ambitious. I'm going to give it down to ambition. A little too ambitious. Didn't quite have the goods to deliver on the ambition, but hopefully they will.
And of course, it's not released until the end of January. So, they've got about 2 or 3 months to sort of clean up. That's crunch time. I know, but that's kind of where we are.
If it's about a polish, maybe they can pull it off. They can maybe take some of those effects out, just leave it to more fantasy, make it look more like Brahmastra.
How about reshooting the whole thing? Anyway, okay.
I know. All right, so there it is. We're looking forward to the next trailer. Hopefully, things will look better. My heart kind of breaks a little bit for creative people when this happens.
I get you. Well, we'll see what happens. We're hoping for the best. We're positive people. So anyway, Adipurush coming soon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon, everybody. Bye.